Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk to you about some best practices and specific features you might not know about for Google Classroom. Now, in an e-learning environment, things are going to be much different than that in-classroom environment. Specifically, that students might, for whatever reason, have the urge to spam post or do things that they shouldn't be doing within your classroom setting. So setting up high expectations at the very beginning of any sort of distance learning or emergency distance learning like we're planning for is very important. One of the best ways to do that is to go ahead and create a pinned post. So I'm just going to not write out a whole bunch of text, but here this is where you'd want to write out your text of things like your expectations for how students will be acting within this specific Google Classroom. Things like don't be spam posting, don't be using this to create discussions that are outside of the topic, things like that. It's very important that we set those expectations. So when we're ready to pin our post, we'll just go ahead and click Post. And then over on the menu for it, we should be able to have this selected to move to top. Now it's important maybe going through once a week or once every couple days and having that move to the top. And what that's going to do, it's actually just going to take that posting and always keep it as the first post that we have. So in this, my example is now moved to the top. Now say you have one student who, even after constant warnings of, don't do this, don't be spam posting, don't be talking about things that aren't relevant to the topic in our classroom, and they continue to do that, we can actually revoke that privilege for them to do that. All we have to do is click on People, and then let's say Nathan here. Nathan, he's just been, really chatty and talking about everything else that has nothing to do with the engineering class. So what I can do is, sorry for clicking on him there, once he's selected, I click Actions, and then I click Mute. When I click Mute, you can see you're going to get this warning here. Basically, all it does is it prevents him from contributing to any post, from writing anything like that. He can still submit work, it's just he can't comment on stuff, and that's very important that we have. Now, if you didn't know either, if a child has their guardians attached on Google Classroom, you can actually go ahead and email those guardians. If not, you can always invite them. And then if you need a co-teacher in a classroom with you, you can always invite another teacher that way. Some other best practices for using Google Classroom is just making sure that you're staying on top of those posts, making sure that you have things organized. And if you have a lot of your discussion posts already created or a lot of your content already created, make sure you actually schedule those posts ahead of time. It makes it a little easier for you as a teacher because there's going to be a lot of extra stuff that we're doing with distance learning that I think having some of those discussion questions pre-built out and ready to go, it's just going to be really beneficial for you. Let's go ahead and check the classwork. So if you're not really using Google Classroom a lot, besides just kind of posting assignments or stuff like that, if you click on Create, we can post specific assignments. We can create special quiz assignments. We can ask questions, which I've already talked about in a previous video about creating discussion posts. You can add gist material, or if you have a really good post from last year that you'd like to reuse, you can actually go back into any of your archived classes and grab that post, just to repost it that way. We can also create topics this way. Now this is up to you, but creating a topic does help with organization, and organization is going to be key for the success of any distance learning or emergency distance learning. I would also just like to point out that it's going to be rough for the first day, maybe couple days using this new process. And the reason I say that is because the students are not going to be used to doing this type of learning at home. They're very much used to that classroom setting. So getting them into that mindset is going to be helpful. And maybe even potentially having those bell ringer questions at the start, or just having some way to be engaging those students and also setting those expectations is going to be key to their success in this environment. More importantly, it's going to be key to keeping your sanity in this environment. All right, if you have other great ideas for best practices for Google Classroom for an emergency distance learning scenario, please post those in the comments section. I guess post them in the comments section since there's no other way to do that. Thanks for watching.